Hi everyone, welcome back to Premier Study. Glad to have you. Today we're going to be looking at Northwest Biotherapeutics, ticker NWBO, traded on the over-the-counter OTC QB markets. You can see their chart on the screen. Decent run up this year. This last 6 months, we're looking at the 6-month chart. So jumping over to microcapdaily.com, we learned that this is a company that really focuses on a personalized immune therapy for cancer, and that's one of the big things that they key in on. We'll go over and look at their investors page in a second. I believe it's a true statement that cancer is the #1 most lethal disease on the planet, and if you follow Illumina, you might have seen some of the news related to their Grail acquisition. It's a big deal, being able to screen for cancer. It's a huge deal, and most of us have been affected by it, either through friends or family. So let's look at their products. They have a lead product called the DCVax-L. This is the one that's getting a lot of news, a lot of hype. Now, one interesting thing to me is that it treats cancers that can actually be surgically removed. So I thought if you're going to look at this further, you might want to understand why is using this treatment better than just going under the knife. Understand maybe some cancers may be too close to vital organs, maybe growing on something like this, maybe the heart or something like this. So maybe treatment is the only option. But these say that can be surgically removed. So that's one thing that popped out to me. The other thing we should know is that they're in phase 3 on this, and they've actually been in this for 13 years. And so they're really looking forward to being able to push out some results. Now, as you saw, the run up in the stock price from about 15 cents up to today, it's trading at 74 cents with a high of 96 cents. A lot of people have seen the rumors. They've done some reports at some medical conferences talking about the success of this. I'm going to look at some other business kind of investment things that they're doing that's going to key into us or suggest to us that this is probably a good thing, that the results are positive. Obviously, they have insider trading and things that they can't leak information to anyone. But hey, we can see what they're doing and take some ideas from that. They do have a second product. It's called the DCVax-Direct, and this is designed to treat inoperable tumors. That's in phase 1. If we look here, we can see a nice chart that gives the progression. So this is the one that I said has a lot of people talking. It's at the end of the phase 3. They're looking to put out results in September of 2020. So some of the other things we learned is that they're developing vaccines for cancer, which is interesting, to treat a broad range of solid tumor cancers more effectively than current treatments and without the side effects of chemo. So, you've watched people, friends, loved ones go through chemo. It's pretty awful. It's pretty gut-wrenching. I have some friends, a good friend of mine, his wife is going through it for the second time. And, they send prayer requests and they're like, it's suffering, it's misery, it's awful, it's, really difficult. So if you've been around that, I think we all have. So being able to sidestep that chemo bit is, I think, very good. Very interesting aspect of what they're doing. The other thing is, like we said, it's a personalized vaccine, meaning they basically take a biopsy of the person's tumor, and we'll go on and see some stuff later that they say, the same cancer in different people isn't the same. I'm not a medical person, so I'll let you look at some of the things we're going to see from them in a second. So also, it's not so easy to see here, but they're doing an ovarian cancer treatment and also prostate treatment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see them all in their different stages. So before we jump into looking at some of the investments that they've made in order to build out their manufacturing process, I want to basically try to give you the best I can about how this works. They say basically there's these immune cells called the dendritic cells, and then there's also cancer biomarkers they call the antigens. So basically what they do is that all their product lines are made up from the patient's own dendritic cells. Now these dendritic cells are freshly isolated and newly matured and activated. One of the things that they believe is that the old or the existing dendritic cells in a cancer patient have already been compromised by the cancer. And they believe this is the reason why other vaccines on the market have largely failed. However, the patient's body continues to produce new precursors of dendritic cells, and these precursors, called monocytes, circulate in the patient's bloodstream. So what they do for all their products that they use, the precursors, the monocytes, are obtained through a blood draw, and then somehow they have this proprietary manufacturing process where the precursors are matured into fresh, uncompromised, new dendritic cells. And then from there, that's kind of their key. That's their special sauce. That's the thing that they're doing that no one else has done before. So while we're waiting for those results to come out of that 13-year study, phase 3 study, we can look at some other things that they're doing. So in a September 4th article, 2020, we read that last week the company reported it is pursuing an intensive program of manufacturing preparations and planning as it approaches top-line data from its phase 3 trial of DCVax-L. Now, a cornerstone of this expanding program is completion of phase 1 build-out. Phase 1 not of a trial or drug trial or vaccine trial. Phase 1 of, how you go through construction of a building or a facility. So this is happening in a city called Swaston in the UK, with construction crews working double time to complete by mid-October 2020. Now, if you're going to be paying people overtime, double time, there must be some reason for it. I think that's logical. It says the build-out is the accumulation of several years of design, development, and preparatory activities, including all kinds of, pure storage, clean storage, yada yada. They're able to do this through a recent $1.7 million special purpose loan that they received. On September 1st, the company announced it had acquired Flashworks. It says Flashworks is a company that's developed a breakthrough system to close and automate the manufacturing of cell therapy products such as the DCVax that Northwest Bio is running. Another interesting thing is they didn't gut the system. They basically kept the technical team from Flashworks and has joined Northwest Bio as part of the acquisition. So this author assumes that it has something to do with a substantial scale-up of production volumes of their products. So that looks good. For those of you that have a more technical background in pharmacy, biochemistry, maybe something of this nature, I'll leave this for you and you can read it. It gives you the technicals. If we go over to the company's website, we'll look at the DCVax technology that they have under patent. So the first thing they say is that the DCVac is designed to mobilize the entire immune system, not just one among the many different categories of immune agents in that overall system. You can read this. I'm not going to. Not on this video anyway. DCVax is designed to target not just one, but the full set of biomarkers in the patient's tumor. And that is one interesting thing. They are taking that sample and making it personalized, like they see in point 3. DCVax is personalized and targets the particular biomarkers expressed in that patient's tumor. I think this first sentence is a great one. It says, extensive scientific evidence has shown that there is substantial variation in tumor profiles and characteristics among patients with the same cancer, quote unquote same. So they also say that 80% of patients who have received the DCVax in clinical trials to date have received some benefit, clinical benefits. It's from a site called Cancer Direct, and it tells us a little bit about how it's administered. So the DCVax-L involves only an intradermal injection in the arm, similar to a flu shot. It's taken 3 times in the first month, 3 additional times over the rest of the year at months 2, 4, and 8, and then twice a year thereafter. So they say it's only a minimal burden on the patient, which compared to like we were talking about before, this chemo stuff, I think is what has people so excited. If it works and for whatever reason they're building all this manufacturing stuff out for, it has to be for some reason. They have to have something up their sleeve. Otherwise, why raise the money? Why hire the architects? Why bring in the engineers? Why do all that? So there has to be something there. I would say that we can be confident about that. The big thing is just what's going to happen with these results that everyone's waiting for. So going back to the chart, it has run up about 15 cents to 75 cents, so about a 5x. But the question we're asking is, what's going to happen just on that simple news alone, if it comes out, if you're a swing trader, or does this thing really have legs to run? We'll start by looking at the annual charts going back 5 years. We do see total revenue is up, but these are very small numbers. So net income is actually increasing. These are all in negatives with negative 115, negative 80, negative 73, negative 36, negative 20. So they're approaching profitability, which is good to see. So if we switch over to the quarterly income statement, you can see that recently they had 2 profitable quarters. So that's nice to see, although they obviously spent a lot of money probably on the ramp up. Let's go look at their cash flow real quick. So yeah, they had about 20 million come in for cash from financing. So if we look at their ratios, there's not a lot that's all that surprising. There's very high price per sales, 270. Sales growth, this was a good trend, 123% 1 year growth in sales. Over 5 years, it's been much lower, about 10%. So most of that growth has happened more recently. Earnings per share growth, 12 months trailing, not good. Not bad. Just it is what it is. Negative margins. They're just burning through a lot of cash. Enterprise value is $567 million. So again, the company's name is Northwest Biotherapeutics. They have a lot of webcasts on their investor and media page. There's also a Facebook group for them as well if you want to keep up to date on some of these things as they roll in. Again, that's Northwest Biotherapeutics, ticker symbol NWBO, traded on OTC QB. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.